So in the interest of keeping this brief, I'll keep my communications brief also. However, I cannot ignore one issue, and that is why we're in this room. While the government declares that everyone should work from home, they only mean that if you're not a councillor in England. Every other nation in the United Kingdom, if you're a councillor, has recognised the fast nature of councillors being dragged into council chambers when it's clear that the public health risk is high, and that doing so by virtual meeting is no less effective. As someone who's caught COVID-19 last autumn from attending meetings related to my role, let me be clear that the risk is very real. On this committee, we have members who are clinically vulnerable, one who has decided that the risk is so high she cannot attend today, and another member who is quite clearly heavily pregnant. She's putting herself and her unborn baby at risk and her other small children in her household because the government are putting their fingers in their ears and not allowing us to continue this remotely as we did for the first year of the pandemic. There is a petition put together on change.org by the Association of Democratic Services Officers and the Lawyers for Local Government. Because let me be clear, it's not just councillors who are at risk, but our staff too. And on a national level, the organisations that represent them are making that very clear. I have tweeted the petition, which is also backed by Jackie Weaver, and I would urge you to sign it. There's no use pretending that the pandemic is over and doesn't need strong measures to curb it. The more the government puts in half-baked measures, the longer this pandemic will go on. Learning to live with COVID cannot mean ignoring the risks. We've already seen schools in other parts of the country close as they face such a shortage of teaching staff, with no plan from government to address this. So the lack of measures is clearly having an impact on education across the country too. In all settings, for the safety of our members of the public, I urge stronger measures. I would like this meeting to be a place where we keep people safe, and as a result, I am therefore going to allow only one speaker per group alongside any co-optees who wish to speak, unless it is clear that we need sufficient stronger debate on the item. Limit the length of contributions so they do not go on longer than 5 minutes. Ask all officers presenting to be as brief as possible and no longer than 5 minutes. And ask officers who are responding to questions be brief as possible also. When we undertake the call over, if you're intending to call an item just so that you can abstain, please don't call it. And after we've done the call over, I will ask if there are any items you wish to abstain. I expect that may be the case with the fees and charges report. And so that's why I've made that provision.